In the late 1960s, the muscle car scene was an all-out war. Horsepower was the weapon of choice, and every manufacturer was locked in a brutal arms race. But one company didn't just build a car, they called their shot with a name inspired by a comedy show skit. A name that was a bold statement, a challenge, and a promise. They created a legend that would rule the streets with a cast-iron fist. We're talking about the Pontiac GTO Judge. And this is the story of how it delivered a verdict that redefined an entire era. The GTO's predicament. The GTO essentially created the muscle car scene in 1964, but by the late 60s, the market was flooded with competitors. Models like the Plymouth Roadrunner were leveraging fun, youth-oriented branding to stand out, and Pontiac was feeling the pressure. GTO sales were slipping, and they knew they needed more than just raw power to stay competitive. They needed a new, creative branding strategy that would resonate with younger buyers and give the GTO a fresh identity. Inspiration struck from an unlikely source, a popular line from the TV show Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In, Here Comes the Judge. Two of Pontiac's brightest minds, John DeLorean and Jim Wongers, seized on the idea. Naming their new GTO option package, the Judge, was not just clever, it was a stroke of marketing genius. It gave us some of the greatest automotive advertising of all time, with period ads running bold headlines like, "The Judge can be bought," and "All rise for the Judge." The ads were as clever as they were effective, drumming up sales for the car's planned 1969 launch. But could the car's performance back up that bold name? The Iron Fist, engines and performance. The Judge was designed to deliver on its promise. It came equipped with one of two distinct V8 engines. The standard motor was the Pontiac Ram Air 3, a version of their 400 cubic inch V8. This system was designed to force colder, denser ambient air directly into the engine via functional hood scoops, bypassing the hotter air under the hood. The Ram Air 3 utilized a strong core iron block, a 10.75:1 compression ratio, and a performance-oriented hydraulic cam. With the added push from the induction system, this motor peaked at 366 horsepower and 445 foot-pounds of torque. It was, without a doubt, as potent as anything else in its class. But for those who wanted the pinnacle of performance, there was another option, the legendary Ram Air 4. While officially rated at only 370 horsepower, a modest 4 horsepower more than the Ram Air 3, in the real world, it was an entirely different beast. The Ram Air 4 used a more robust 4-bolt main block, a beefier crank, better flowing heads, and a much hotter cam, among other upgrades. These changes pushed its actual power output closer to the 450 horsepower range, putting it on par with the baddest motors of the period. With your Judge, you could either roll your own gears through a standard 3-speed manual or a choice of 2 Muncie 4-speeds. The M20 wide ratio was for cars with lower rear gears, while the M21 close ratio was for those with higher rear gears. A 3-speed automatic was also available, but we all know which version we would rather have. The Ram Air 3 cars could consistently run low to mid, 14-second quarter-mile times, while the Ram Air 4 Judges could break into the 13s if driven right. Not bad for a car that was over 3,500 pounds. A design that spoke volumes. While the interior of the Judge was relatively standard compared to a regular GTO, the exterior was where you let everyone know what you had. The car was decked out with Judge decals on the front fenders, and aggressive colored side stripes. You could also option a hood-mounted 8,000 RPM tachometer for a little extra flair. The piece de resistance was the large, 60-inch wide spoiler fitted to the deck lid. The standard wheel option was 14 by 6-inch rally wheels, completing the look. While a few different colors were available for the 1969 Judge GTO, none are as iconic as Carousel Red, a shade of orange that became synonymous with the car. Initially designed as a 1-year-only trim package, the Judge was an instant hit. Priced at just $3,500 for the base Ram Air 3 cars, Pontiac sold just under 7,000 Judges in 1969. Based on this success, Pontiac extended the production for 1970 with a newly designed front and rear fascia. Gone were the iconic hideaway headlights, replaced by 4 separate headlight pods. The end of the reign. Despite its continued brilliance, the second year of the Judge's life did not bring great sales numbers. The muscle car market was shifting due to new factors outside of Pontiac's control, including rising insurance premiums and new EPA regulations. In 1969, Pontiac sold over 70,000 GTOs. In 1970, that number dropped to 40,000. With the trend getting worse, Pontiac pulled the plug on the Judge in February of 1971. But since some orders were already placed for the 1971 model year, Pontiac was forced to build a small batch of just about 370 cars. The 1971 cars featured another revised front fascia, new hood, and a new motor, a high-output 455 cubic inch V8. Sadly, because of the new EPA regulations, this motor was designed to run on unleaded gas, which knocked the compression ratio down to a low 8.4 to 1. Despite the drop in horsepower to 335, the added displacement meant the car still had an earth-moving 480 foot-pounds of torque and more low-end shove than the earlier Ram Air 3 cars. But it was the final nail in the coffin. By the time the Judge's reign was over, just about 10,000 cars had been built. It couldn't save the GTO from its sales slump, but those 10,000 cars gave us one of the most iconic vehicles of an era and some of the best automotive advertising the world has ever seen. It's for all these reasons that today, a remaining Judge car is so valuable and so coveted by enthusiasts.